right. How are you?
Good to see you. I'm great, man. Thank you for joining Face Hero for our director debrief. The Amateur, of course, available on digital now. And listen, you know on Face Hero, we love Marvel and DC. I'm going to have some Lantern stuff to throw at you. We'll see what you can talk about there. We're going to talk about The Amateur first, of course, man. We just left the Spy Museum. That was awesome.
Yeah, it really was.
Had you been there before?
No.
It's that Bond exhibit that we almost missed on the way out.
Yeah.
Was pretty stunning.
Yeah.
I'm curious, when you go to a film like The Amateur, it's a spy movie. There's so many movies like Bond out there. He is the opposite of Bond, essentially.
And that's what drew me in.
Okay, so talk to me about that. How do you sort of, is there inspiration in that, in maybe saying we're going to do the opposite of how good of an assassin he is? Well, not the opposite, but you know what I mean?
The strength of the concept here, the strength of the premise is that he isn't Bond, he isn't Bourne.
Yeah.
He's not going to turn into a ninja. We see him go off to the CIA training installation at the farm, and you expect that he's suddenly going to learn some really cool shit and be able to fire a gun, and the point is he can't. And that's part of the charm. He is the underestimated hero. He's the unexpected hero. So we just had to keep that in mind. It's something that Rami and I had to talk about all the time, because Rami would worry, quite right, is my character just going to look like a dork here? Am I going to be... I said, no, because
impossible
you're
for that guy to look like
cool.
a dork.
Yeah, and you're so intelligent, you're so committed, you're so courageous.
Yeah.
That's what's cool.
Was there anything Rami was too good at that you had to be like, hey, you got
to... There were things that we had to pull him back on, you know? There were.
That's funny.
Equally, there were moments that we had when we were doing the chase sequence through the hotel, where and through the streets of Marseille, where Laurence Fishburne's character is coming afterwards. Laurence Fishburne is, he won't mind me saying, he's a man in his 60s. He's so fast. And Rami would turn around and go, he's so fucking fast. So we kept having to start Laurence further back, otherwise he caught up too soon.
That's funny. The top comment on the trailer that I saw is, Mr. Robot trained by Morpheus and the Punisher.
What's not to love?
Do you look at the previous work of these guys, because you have legends in this movie,
I do.
And say, like, you know what, I really like what you did. Do you guys talk about that kind of stuff, their previous work on set?
Not so much on set, because they want to then be in the moment of
right,
that
sure,
character.
yeah. But in the prep, maybe?
What I do is go back, and obviously it is part of my prep to know what these actors have done before. Obviously, most of it I do know already, but I might go and revise it to see if there are particular things they do that we can harness, or things that I want to avoid.
Right.
But when you've got somebody like Laurence that goes back to Apocalypse Now when he was 14 or whatever it was,
it's unreal.
It's a different kind of legend.
I mean, he's like, he is, that's exactly what I was going to say, he is a different kind of legend.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm a huge Bernthal fan. I mean, everybody in this movie is fantastic. I think the big set piece, the one that was marketed because you knew it was so good that it was going to draw people in, is that big pool sequence.
Yeah.
First of all, how many tries do you get at a sequence like that?
Very few. I mean, obviously, we've got different days on that. We've got the location, we've got the VFX to come afterwards, and then we built a huge section of that life-size in a studio. So that part of that we rebuilt. Did you not know that?
I think I just saw part of that on there's a behind-the-scenes video playing right near us.
So obviously,
today's the first time I saw that.
On the location. Well, that's one of the advantages now that it's out there. That you can rent it or buy it or stream it.
Yeah.
You can pause and watch those bits, and you've got these behind-the-scenes extras to go for and see how a sequence like that's made. But we had the location, so obviously we can have the start of the swim and the move to escape there. But then, and the fall, some of that's going to be in VFX, because obviously we're not going to drop the guy 16 stories. But the bit in between that really makes you believe that this is happening is just at the moment that the pool cracks, the water sucks back, and he starts to get pulled away. That's on a set where we've rebuilt a huge section of the pool. The actor and the stuntman are on wires. So as the water starts to go, we blew up sections of the set. The water drops into a tank below, and we let him fall until the moment that it's no longer safe, and we dragged up on wires.
That's unreal. Was that? Would you say that was the most involved set piece of the film?
Yeah. It's kind of equal with the whole sequence of getting onto the boat with Schiller at the end.
Oh yeah.
And that's because
blocking
the moment
boats.
You've got multiple boats, special forces on boats. You've got to get an actor on board a boat at sea at night in the Baltic.
Right.
So the logistics of that kind of sequence are also pretty complicated.
That's unreal. The movie, now I won't spoil it too specific, say anything too specifically about the end of the movie, but typically you go see a spy revenge movie, you expect there to be big action, death, and a lot. You subvert expectations in a way that I think really worked for this movie. Can you talk about how you wanted to land the ship? I'll say ship because, you know, if you've seen, you know. How do you want it to land that in a way that is, I guess goes back to our first question in a sense, that is not the traditional spy movie?
We had a big debate about that at story level, with the writers, with the execs, with the studio. Between ourselves, it wasn't a combat. We all felt that Charlie sets out for revenge, and along the way he discovers that what he really wants is justice. And you're right, it's part of what defines this movie differently. You don't get the James Bond, the entire spaceship blows up and minions get pulled out by jerk rigs and thrown into the sea. You get, I like to think, a slightly more nuanced, character-driven version.
I was shocked. And I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of ways you can do a sequence like that to end a film, and then you sit there and as a watcher and you're like, I want an action. But then the way this works is like, oh, I love how that subverted my expectations. I thought it was really well done. So I wanted to send my compliments to the chef.
Well, that's great. I mean, you didn't feel underwhelmed.
No, not at all. I felt like it twisted me. Like it was a great twist. Yes. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So now, of course, I have to ask, with how this movie ends, he's gotten pretty good at this.
Yes.
Is there like The Professional on the way? You think this is something you'd ever want to do again?
It was discussed. You can see that. One of the things I could tell you is that final scene when you re-meet Hendo in the car was not in the original script.
Oh, really?
But we found ourselves so enjoying the relationship between the two characters of Charlie and Hendo through the film that we thought we need another beat here. We deliberately left it, and this isn't too much of a spoiler, that you don't know whether Henderson has died or not.
Yeah.
But we felt there was room to go with this that gave you that little bit of a chuckle, a little bit of a satisfaction, and hey, there's a possibility. There's a lot more conversations to have. But what I like is the fact that you, and I think the audiences are finding, you meet the geek at the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
The geek that is not the man that he can become.
Yep.
By the end of the movie, he's become a new version of himself that wouldn't have happened but for his loss, but for his crisis.
That sort of silver lining type of story, even a tragedy you can...
Yeah,
of course. I love that, man. And listen, of course, I do have to talk to you about Lanterns because I'm very excited for that. I know you probably can't say much, but...
Not much.
I would love to just start with, like, how did that project... What enticed you about that project?
It's a combination because it's not my normal sandpit, really, to go off and play in that area. But the writing, Chris Mundy, Damon Lindelof, they've done things like Ozarks, True Detective.
Lost.
And the scripts have got such wit, so much character. It's like a buddy cop movie played out, and I've talked about this in a sort of True Detective, Fargo, No Country for Old Men, naturalistic. It's a buddy cop movie, and then somebody flies.
No big deal.
No.
When you were making The Amateur, was Rachel Brosnahan Lois Lane yet?
No.
Did you get to...
She became that, yes.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Rachel is
she's amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay? She's just such a super intelligent, energetic, driven, creative. I mean, she's a joy to collaborate with.
I thought for sure you were going to hit me with The Wife Isn't Dead twist. I was like, the whole movie, I was like, technically we didn't see it. Like, we saw it, but we didn't actually see it. And then you gave me a very different twist at the end, and I appreciate that. And one last thing about Lanterns is, I'm curious, that it's got a fantastic cast. Everything we hear, it looks like kind of grounded on Earth. And those characters are obviously very cosmic characters. I would just love to hear about the balance and things like that, because I can't think of a comic book TV show that has gone to space and done all the crazy things that characters like the Lanterns can do. Can you just talk about how you kind of got to approach those elements of that show with this incredible cast and the characters they're playing?
I think I'm going to talk very obliquely about that because there are excitements to come. It won't disappoint the classic fans. I think it will invite in a whole new audience as well, because you get to meet the characters in quite a rooted way before it takes you intergalactic.
Okay. Is that what they told you to say if people ask?
No, I just made that up just
That
now.
was really good. No, I appreciate it, man. James, I'm a huge fan of your work.
Thank
I
you.
would love to see you do a Bond movie too. And we were walking to that Bond exhibit, and I was like, you know what?
Well, there was an article published earlier this year that put me as one of 5 on the list. Some of the other people on those lists, there's some guy called Nolan. I don't know. He's done some shit.
He's done a couple of small little. I might have seen them, but dude,
Hey,
I would love.
If amateur was my Bond, that's not a bad place to be.
It's not a bad place to be, man. Congratulations. Thank you so much for taking the time for me to talk.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.